But two becomes three right now because the man of the moment in the world of boxing joins us live. Jack Catterall avenged his 2022 defeat to Josh Taylor by outpointing the Scotsman in Leeds on Saturday night. The result, a matter of controversy in terms of the scoring. We'll get to that in a moment, but I wonder how Jack is feeling. Let's ask him. Jack, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. Yes, really good. Thank you. Back to reality today, but what a weekend. Over the moon with the results and just happy to put that chapter to bed.
Absolutely. Now, listen, you're joining us on YouTube at the moment. I can see you as well as hear you, and you look all right. The two of you look a bit bashed up on Saturday night at the end of it, but you look as if you've come through this unscathed.
Yeah, you know what? It's you go swimming, you get wet. I had a couple of little bruises, but nothing major. Come out of it healthy and happy. So the bruises have settled down and I'm feeling good.
Good man. Listen, did this play out in the way that you thought it would, that you hoped it would? In the end, you outpointed him and you got a unanimous decision. Is that exactly as you would have wanted it?
Yeah, it was win by any means necessary. We knew what Josh was capable of. We prepared for the best version of Josh, and I believe we got that Saturday. But yeah, I knew it was going to be a tough fight. I knew, obviously, I've shared the ring with him before, watched his previous fights. It was never going to be an easy task, but we stuck to the game plan and spent a lot of hours in the gym, a lot of days in the gym over the last couple of years preparing for this fight. So to get the victory means the world to me.
I thought it was a brilliant performance, Jack. I know you know that I picked Josh. But I'm very happy to be wrong. I didn't pick Josh with any malice because I think you deserved to win the first fight. You definitely won the first fight. There's little doubt you won the second fight. What I was surprised about, Jack, was if I was to close my eyes and look at the two fighters and look at the technical ability and the manner in which you fought, I would have thought you'd have been the undisputed champion of the world because there just seemed to be a gulf in. Josh was very game. There can be no doubt that he was invested in this fight. I don't think the weight was an issue. I just think all the quality work that was done, all the hurtful work that was done, the clearness of your ability was shown in that fight, whereas Josh was just very bold and very brave. There wasn't a lot of head movement. He came forward in straight lines, didn't make the angles that you did. I just thought there almost was a difference in level between the two fighters. Did you feel that when you were in the ring?
I did, and I felt it the first time, and there was a lot of talk about him under-preparing, overlooking me, but I take the confidence from the work that I put in, but I felt like I had the better boxing ability than Josh. I knew what I was capable of, and I executed it on Saturday. And like again, I said, it means a lot to me.
Jack, what do you want next?
A world title. Obviously, that moment's been and gone. We don't dwell in the past. We look forward to the future. There's a lot of great fights to be made, but I want my shot at a world title. I believe the activity that I've had has put me in good stead. We had a good fight on Saturday, but I want to stay active. I want to stay busy, and I still believe I've got it in me to win a world title. So that's what's on my mind.
I mean, the world's your oyster right now. There's a lot of opportunities. Some people might say there might be a situation where you're the president of a Who Needs Him club, but there's also a raft of opportunities. I mean, was your last fight for Matchroom on Saturday night? Out of contract with them now? You're a free agent, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a free agent, but make no mistake, I've enjoyed the time working with them, and I'd love to work with them in the future. They've given me the activity that I need. They've delivered me the big fights on a big platform, so for that I'm very grateful. But I've left it in the hands of Sam Jones. He'll do what needs to be done.
Your manager.
And my instruction to Sam was to keep me active. I turned 30 last year. I've had 3 fights with Matchroom, which have been brilliant, but I want to kick on now and be involved in some big fights.
Is the next fight a world title fight, Jack? Is that your expectation?
Yeah, I'd love it to be. There's been talk about it. I know Sam's been busy since Saturday night. There's lots of phone calls coming in. So which route we go, I don't know. But I'll be back in the gym next week and I'll be chomping at the bit and I'll be putting pressure on to see who can deliver me this world title.
Well, Simon, have a listen to this because before we came on air, you'll be interested to hear this, Jack. I had a conversation with Eddie Hearn about you as to what might be next for Jack Catterall in his eyes. He's over in Riyadh, but this is what he told me.
After the fact, and after the fact that most people feel like Catterall won the first fight as well, Jack wants to move on. There's many people that feel that Jack Catterall should already be undisputed world champion, but that was taken away from him in Glasgow a few years back. Now he wants to go on and challenge for a world title. I can't lie, as a promoter, I know the trilogy is a massive fight. The crowd was incredible. The fight was incredible. We certainly don't rule it out, but one thing's for sure, Jack Catterall wants to get back in the ring ASAP. We're already looking at dates at the end of August. And I think you're going to see him back in the ring soon, hopefully with a World Championship round his waist.
So, Jack, Eddie Hearn doesn't rule out the trilogy fight, but you do. Am I right?
Listen, I'm not ruling it out. I understand the landscape of boxing, and it was an unbelievable atmosphere on Saturday, and I think the fans loved the fight. But right now, there's been too much talk of Josh Taylor for the last 4 years, before the first fight and the time in between. For me, I want to go on and win a world title, but I understand I'm a prize fighter, and if that's put on the table and that makes sense, and that's what the fight the fans want, then we'll entertain it.
Yeah, it might not be Eddie's gift to determine, given you're not under contract with him anymore anyway, so that might be a different discussion. But I was going to say to you, I mean, when we look at the scoring, I didn't like what Bob Arum did on Saturday night, Jack. I watched your face, I watched Eddie's face. I didn't think it was necessary. I didn't score it that way, 117 and 111. I think that was wide. I had it 116, 112. I had you winning 8 rounds to 4. I mean, when you were listening to Bob, I mean, you indulged these elder statesmen. I did think it was a bit strong what he said.
I thought so. Jack, just before you come in on that, this is Bob Arum in the ring post-fight.
What's important to you now?
Hey,
do you want to give Bob wants to speak.
I saw the fight like everybody else. Those scorecards were a disgrace. Were an absolute disgrace. And I really feel sorry for Josh. I thought he won the fight, but those scorecards were ridiculous. And that's the lesson. I will never, ever allow an American fighter to come here with this British board scoring the fight. Those scores were ridiculous.
Jack, as that happened, as he said what he said, what did you think at the time?
You know what? You have so much respect for somebody like Bob, who's done so much for the sport of boxing, but he's an elderly man now, and I think somebody should have been looking out for him. I found it a bit disrespectful. It was my time that I just won the fight against Josh. That was eagerly anticipated, and I was being interviewed at the same time. He jumped on the microphone. I think somebody should have looked out for him and took the microphone off him. And I'll be the first to say, maybe the scorecards, I've not watched it back yet and scored it, and I will do that in the coming days. But yeah, maybe the scorecards were wide. I was comfortable and confident that I'd won the fight. I'll score it and watch it back. But for Bob to jump up on the mic when there's been pictures circulating him, he was asleep through some of the rounds. So I just found it a bit disrespectful.
Yeah, I agree, Jack. I think that it was inappropriate. I think it didn't price into it was your moment, a well-deserved moment. And given what you had taken away from you, which is something that's going to be remarkably difficult for anyone to ever get, which is an opportunity to have all the undisputed, to be undisputed in his weight class. I think it should have been priced into his thinking, but that's how people operate. I think most people look at that and think, oh, it's a bit silly, Bob. And most people in their mind's eye say, well done, because it was a class performance from you. You did exactly what you said you were going to do. You corrected the record. When you and by the way, I'm very pleased for you, mate. I know I picked Josh, but notwithstanding that, for me, I was ambivalent about the idea who won. The best man won, and you did in both fights.
He's having to grovel here,
I'm not
Jack. It's very funny.
It's not my nature to grovel. You think you've got to call things for what they are.
Yeah.
They said they were going to win the fight. Jack Catterall absolutely was robbed in the first fight, and he's won the second fight, and he's won it convincingly.
No, you were brilliant, Jack.
When you look at Josh Taylor's performance, I mean, was it what you expected from him? Did he put up the challenge that you thought he was going to put in, or was it slightly more routine for you than you anticipated?
I'd say it was more routine. I think he's with a new team, and Josh is a couple of years older than me, and you're not going to change a fighter massively over a 12-month period. I thought he would try new things. He'd come out of the blocks, and he pretty much boxed the same as the first fight. I've always believed in my timing, my distance, my defence. I felt like I controlled the pace. We spoke about the first fight in the press conferences, how he needed to not let me control the pace of the fight, and that's easier said than done. And I felt like I did everything I wanted to do in that fight comfortably.
Jack, just to finish on this, we'll hear more from Eddie Hearn from Riyadh, because I get into conversation with Eddie about scoring, judges and how they score. You know, you guys are the most important people of the lot. You're the fighters. You're in there doing it. Do you think this needs to be looked at, though, Jack? Because in the eyes of many, the judging scorecards did flatter you in the eyes of some. Do you think there needs to be a rethink about how judges go about scoring a fight?
Yeah, they do, and I've not got the answer to it. It's a grey area. It's very opinion based. Something needs to be looked at. Who does that? I don't know, but it does. It takes the eyes off the result for me sometimes. I had a great win on Saturday, and there's been a lot of talk online about the scorecards, which I get, I understand, but ultimately I won the fight. It was far from a robbery. I felt I won it, maybe by a closer margin than one of the scorecards suggested, but something does need to change.
Jack, you've always acted with great dignity, mate. In the previous fight and in this one, the build-up and after it, and today's no exception. Well done.
No, thank you for having me on. Thank you for your time.
Well done, Jack. Well done. Well deserved.
He's a worthy champion, isn't he?
Absolutely. Him and Sam Jones have got an opportunity now. Now he needs to be given the credit, recognisability and opportunity, both from a world title point of view and from a financial point of view.
Yeah.
And whether he gets the balance right between taking a trilogy with Josh because it will be paid. I'd like to see him win a world title and get paid. So hopefully Sam, who's very capable, Sam's a very, effervescent individual, isn't he?
Yeah.
And, he's a free agent, so there's going to be people that are going to be able to sit in front of him and go, right. This pathway with me gets you this.
Yeah.
All right, so good luck to him. He well deserves it.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.